Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the DoorDash LCO. It's time for Gamero Numero Quadro. I think, off the top of my head, I didn't research that one, and I'm never going to do anything other than English again, because that's a lie. I'm going to do whatever I want again. Now, we do have, again, you guys have been killing it tonight, by the way. You've been at an LCO, hashtag an LCO. We have more content from you guys, and we absolutely adore it. Now, let's throw this one up. Wingardium, speaking of adoration, look at this. He's so proud of his boy ML there, Judes.
Yeah. I don't want... Look.
Can you read that for me? Beautiful.
Anyway, I didn't want to pump up. I didn't want to pump this meme up because if I give Winston an ego, he's gonna think he can ratio me again on the social media platforms.
Oh, true.
And he can't.
True.
And he can't. He's forever. He's my child, and that's it.
Well, there you have it.
He's
So
my child.
you're his Jube's child, maybe Emlog's his child, and he's very excited about it. Anyway, let's move on to meme number 2. And who is it? It's none other than your big boy, Why Not? And it's Professor Xavier. I absolutely love this one.
That's a good one.
Very good effort there, and it certainly works. Man was an absolute machine, pumping out all the, I guess, you know, the enchanting at mid lane.
Pumping out all the shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually,
Beautiful.
you know what? He actually was just empowered queuing, but all good. We'll move on.
Empowered queuing. Okay. I know what that is. I swear I do. Is that the damage one?
Yeah,
It's the Q.
a dark.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Knew
Oh,
that.
hey, that's the Q.
Who wouldn't know that? Only idiots don't know that. Now, speaking of idiots, we got Pentanet and the Chiefs going head-to-head for the final match of the day. And, you know, it was a joke, guys. It was a joke. We know that they're not idiots. They're both towards the top of the table and probably the best players in the scene here in the DoorDash LCO. So let's talk Pentanet first, because I'm sure these idiots would love to be called idiots, and they'd start to throw it back too. Now, look at them. They're great. They're pretty good, and they're starting to find their form. Had a bit of a rocky start to split number 2, but Jubes, they're on the way back up.
Yeah, cheeky new sponsor too at the bottom. But I mean, yeah, Biopanther, Pabu, Chaz, Praetor, Decoy. I feel like, you know, enough introductions. They've been fantastic in recent weeks. They're really finding their groove. To be honest, it's the old Pentanet.gg that we're used to seeing in terms of the slower games, the teamfight games in the mid game. And I'm still not sold on whether or not their early game's better, right? Because every time they pick an earlier team composition and try to put their foot on the gas, it doesn't work out for them too well, and they fall back on their mid to late game quite heavily. So this is going to be a big statement game for me.
Well, let's see if they can make that statement. I think the Chiefs as well want to make a statement and continue to hold their position at the top of the leaderboard. So, Skimmy, tell me what their secret is to success and why they're all so damn good looking. Is it just Kissy in the mid lane?
I mean, it's across the board, right? They've got obviously the skincare regime on down pat. They've got the energy to keep themselves focused in the internet so they don't lag and cause us, you know, OPL memes. Look, as a whole, right, this is a team that are just, you know, strong across the board, arguably the most aggressive early game team, but they find a success with it. I was actually checking out some of the stats before. You know, highest first blood percentage, first turret, first free, heralds, dragons, goal difference. Across the board, they are crushing it. So I'm really curious to follow up Juves' point about saying that, you know, if Pentanet aren't finding too much success in the early game, maybe, like last time, Chiefs can come away with it.
I'm certainly expecting that they could, but if Pentanet play out of their minds, then it may just not happen. Maybe just not here. However, last time both teams went head-to-head, Chiefs did get the dub. If they get it again today, that means if there's any chance of a tiebreaker after the 3rd round, then they will take the lead. Of course, you can have Pentanet coming back and winning this one, winning the one after. Oh, that's right. This was the trend game. That wasn't all that long ago. These super weeks have made the weeks just go so much faster, and that's why we love them. Again, another super week this week, so teams are going to be having to play 3 matches, 3 different opponents, so that'll get us into round number 4, quick, damn, smart. Oh, round number 3, rather, quick, smart. However, last time they went head-to-head, Chiefs played out of their bloody minds, didn't they, Juice?
Chiefs in this game, where I think this was like the start of the Chief dynasty, like in terms of this split, right? So again, it's probably looking back, I mean, this was an absolute shellacking. Like, it wasn't even close, and it was probably a very big draft curveball. Like this Chiefs draft here, it's not what you see every day. But I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said, like, in terms of the head-to-head, this game is almost like a grand final for both teams, because is realistic possibility they both end up on the same amount of wins at the end of the split, right? And that could be for 1 or 2. So yeah, they really, really need to put all the eggs in the basket for this one.
You get yourself that extra lifeline. Speaking of lines, I'm going to chuck the phone line out. Nat, I'm phoning a friend. You got someone on the blower there as well?
Yeah, I've actually dialed in 2 friends here. I'm going to be joined by Kisei and Chaz. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, Kisei, last time you went up against PGG, you guys did win, but they're starting to come back into form. Are you a little bit worried, or are you guys really confident down there in Chiefs to be bursting them again today?
We're not really worried. We just we're not confident. We're not worried. We're just humble, you know. We take every game serious, and yeah, we just want to win.
That's so great to hear that you have a little bit of slice of humble pie over there. But Chaz, as for you guys over at PGG, you guys have been looking really good lately. What are you looking to do differently today to get a win against Chiefs?
Well, we don't want to blast the early game like we did last time. I think the game was over within like 6 minutes or some shit, so we want to at least make it to 10 first of all. But we've got a better draft plan coming into today. I guess all of us have been talking about, we have been putting a lot of effort into like what we want to come out of draft, and I guess making sure we have good picks for us as well as good picks against who we're versing. So we are feeling really confident today, and hopefully our form's being a lot better than whatever we versed them like 2-3 weeks ago. We're a lot more informed like our split 1, so should be a better game from us at the very least.
I look forward to it. Is some of it maybe perhaps down to the new patch that we're coming onto as well when you talk about getting these champs or different champs coming out from you guys?
Well, yeah, obviously the new patch is going to bring out new things. I think the last patch towards, I guess last week, we definitely were fitting our style. We knew what we wanted very well. So now it's a new patch. I guess most teams haven't done a whole lot of scrims, so everyone's still figuring out exactly what's good for them. But we think we have at least a decent read for now. So a lot of the champions that were good last patch are still good now, and there's some new ones added into the mix as well. So we, I guess, had a lot of talks about what we think is going to be good. And hopefully we're correct about it, but yeah, should be good either way.
Is that similar for you guys, Kisei, over on Cheese with this new patch? Is it going to be bringing some new champs into the pool for you that we could see today?
Yes, there was a lot of OP champions that got removed, so we got to adapt to the new champions that are coming in. So yeah, it's just like what Chaz said. We just gotta play and practice more champs.
I look forward to it, but before I do let you guys go, I want a really quick time prediction for how long you think this game is gonna go. If you want to go first, Kisei.
Like 30 minutes either side.
Okay, and Chaz, what about you?
I'm gonna say 34 minutes and 23 seconds. Pentanet win.
Oh, that is so precise. I love it. Well, look, thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
I think the extra seconds were just so if it went anything over 30 minutes, he would be correct, or more correct than Kisei. So, Chaz playing the numbers game there and hoping that he wins at least. Kisei didn't know which way it was going to go, so maybe the confidence isn't there. Maybe they just don't know with the new patch out how it will play out. But let's jump into the predictions, have a quick look at what we've all decided to go for. Of course, my heart is with you, Twitch chat. Please make me positive. Get me that 30 bomb, please. I'm 29 and 22 right now. I need any help I can get. Now, we've got a split at least with Jubes and Skimmy straight up. So, Jubes, why have you gone with Pentanet and Skimmy afterwards? Tell me why you've gone with Chiefs.
I think Pentanet have a pretty good grasp on the meta. Like, the patch changed a few things. It enabled a few picks. And I think if there's a team that's willing to kind of step outside of that boundary and just pick it up first go, it is Pentanet. And I think they'll reap the rewards from that.
Okay. What about you, Skimmy?
I think Chiefs have shown in the past that they are ready to flex picks that nobody else is prepared to do so. We've seen plenty of them, not only against PGG, but across the board. I think a new patch, there'll be new ideas brewing. They'll be very keen to show it off against a team like PGG.
Certainly. Now we'll jump over to the second page. Nat, who have you gone with, and Oh, it's Chiefs. Okay, so going with the top of the table. What's that?
Yeah. Look, I really want to give a really smart answer here, but honestly, this was the toughest game I think for me to choose. A lot of the other games, you could have arguments either way, but you always kind of lent more strongly to one side. But like I said, you know, it's really hard with this one. Chiefs kind of getting figured out by a lot of teams, and PGG coming back into their form that we've seen them before. And like the boys have already said, they are the first to pick up champs that we might not have seen anyone else to play with, and so it's really hard to deal with.
Oh, very true, very true. Now we are about to jump into Champ Select, but before we do, some more sick content. It's the Chiefs, and they're asking each other, or well, we're figuring out how well do they know each other.
Hard to say. This was just so obvious.
What?
You?
What do you mean, me?
You're not obvious.
I was just self-sacrificing
No,
here.
it's obvious.
Oh, okay, guys. This is what it is.
I don't know what Draco answered.
What did I answer?
Yourself.
No, come on, bro. You gotta be humble sometimes. So, I'll never write myself.
Right, but you can think it.
Alright, let's flip him.
I have bad handwriting, by the way.
Nice.
But everyone but Ron.
Good choice, Tristan.
What did you write?
I said Ron.
Ron. Oh, I guess
Ron's like
Ron baits us here and there.
Yeah, Ron.
No, but it's not chaotic, no?
Yeah, no, but that makes the game chaotic. That was how I interpreted it.
Wait, that's the easiest thing in the world.
Oh, I feel like I want to change my answer now. I'm going to be like, no, I can't change it.
Good.
Are you trolling, dude?
Really?
I
swear,
swear, like, even yesterday, like before this, we were all up at like 6 playing.
I know, but I swear.
Were we
he
not
queued
all
up,
in a call at 5?
Nah, you're crazy,
he
dude.
was
Yeah,
up
like
longer.
what?
He was up all night. Like, he
Yeah.
queued up after we went to bed.
Well, it's still pretty degenerate now.
And
No,
we
but-
do
no, but
degenerate,
we're
but
always
he's like super
degenerate.
degenerate.
Okay. Well, if it asked for super degenerate, I would put it.
No, Swaif is the least, because that guy actually sleeps at like 12 sometimes.
Oh, really?
So, I think it's wrong.
I said one, but.
And hopefully one day we will get to return back to LAN. But for the meantime, this could be a potential LAN matchup, Juves. It's a battle for first place. A win here for Pentanet. They'd be tied with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs want to continue to create a buffer and stay at the top of the table.
Yeah, and it feels like Lee Sin is a very big priority still, right? In terms of, has it been picked every day? Every game.
I believe so today.
Yeah.
I believe so.
And-
Yeah, it's, you know, forget about what predictions are. It's still showing.
And it's a bigger priority than the Ziggs, right? Ziggs is what we're, I guess, used to seeing being picked up straight away, at least, you know, in recent weeks. The one thing that I'm excited to see was like the Aurelia ban, because what that says to me is that there's been quite a few teams playing that champion, having a lot of success with it in scrims. And, you know, I guess when we say key picks, we know what we're talking about to a certain extent.
It's good to know that we get paid to do a job that we can talk about, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's to be expected at the Aurelia because there's a lot of players that could have done a lot of justice on it. The Eve ban, obviously they've got a bit of PTSD to PGG after getting crushed by it last time, but now our second Graves of the night.
And I did say, I was going to say, if there's a person who's going to pick Graves, it's Swaith, right? You think about the way he plays the game, the resources he's allocated, and the lack of resources in Boma's allocated, then Graves does seem like the pick to be. Now, what does Pabu have to kind of counteract that? Normally, I would say Kindred isn't a horrible matchup, but it is horrible into the Ziggs. Kindred hates being outranged, but it looks like Pabu's just going to drop down in the jungle pick, which could cause a little bit of problems, right? Because if you start to take away, like, the kind of quote-unquote counter picks of Graves, or the champions that fare very well into him, like what's left. You know, worst case scenario, you could always put the Lee Sin into the Graves, which isn't a terrible matchup, but you do get outscaled.
Yeah, it's an interesting talking point because we start to wonder now, what is the response from Chiefs? They played the Ziggs before and They've paired it with the Blitzcrank, which was hovered, but they're now deliberating as to whether it's going to be the Brom, which is now locked in. So both bot lanes have been guaranteed and displayed.
Yeah, well, the Braum Ziggs lane is practically non-existent, right? Because you need to auto-attack to get the passive off of the Braum. So that's a pick more for out of lane than it is in lane. And you obviously get a lot of value from the Braum with the Graves in the 2v2, and Draku being the guy who's probably going to link up with Swathe. You know, he's going to live in Boma on that island on the Ziggs. So again, makes a lot of sense, but you would say it's a little bit predictable, right, from the side of the Chiefs.
Might see what we saw earlier today from Imelg and Sybil, where they linked up and were able to find success. It's been a really strong combination already between Swathe and Draku to play in that fashion. Obviously, Mboma can hold to his own. Fiddlestick's going to be banned. So this is one of the bans that you're talking on. We saw that Pabu's played this before. Nocturne's still up and available. It could have been the bread and butter, turn the lights out and everyone starts screaming.
That's actually a very good ban. I think this is probably a draft where Pabu would have played that Fiddlesticks, because again, Braum doesn't have time to put the door up. Like, he's going to get feared if he's not in vision. Short range marksman, if you want to call him a marksman, or whatever you want to call Graves as well. So he's going to take the full brunt of that fear. So again, good ban. Lucian being taken away here too.
Yeah, nice. So obviously links up really well with the Brom. So mid Lucian gone. And, you know, prevents them finding that easy strength point of avenue.
It's actually a Lucian bot lane ban too, right? When you consider Lucian Braum as 2v2 into the Kai'Sa Leona. I mean, Lucian definitely not really popular in bot lane, but yeah, it's something to consider.
Zin also removed it away. So really pinching Pabu's champion pool, although he has been told to say that he's got a bit of a champion galaxy. So plenty of options still available for him. The Diana. The Trundle obviously played twice before is ready.
Trundle.
Get to see what he decides.
Yeah, Trundle into Graves is not good. That's a terrible matchup, so I don't expect Pabu to be picking that one. But also, I don't expect Pabu really to be picking Lee Sin. Like, when I think about Pabu, I don't think of him as the Lee Sin player, right? You know, Diana is still there and available, but, you know, in my mind, pre-6, you're going to have a very rough time into the Graves. Like, Graves is just going to beat you in that early exchange, and if they lock Diana here, that means Graves is in a solo lane. Okay.
Yeah, well, that was exactly my point, because you've seen that they've banned away the Kayn, and you mentioned it earlier in the night, right? You're saying laning Graves is still a possibility, but there's the Lilia that you wanted to see, and there's the Tom Kench to follow.
Now, I really like this from Pentanet.gg, because most of what Chiefs have put together is relatively short range, barring the Ziggs, of course, right? Like, that's obviously the big outstanding factor here. But Lilia thrives in short range compositions because her flash into Q, into sleep, has so much value, and I won't be surprised if we see a demonic embrace itemization from Pabu here. Again, really, really like it. Like, it is so short range. If the Lilia doesn't fall behind, there's so much value, particularly because they've actually drafted the Trundle as well. So I'm super excited. On the same side of the coin, the Graves mid lane is, I don't know if anyone's seen it, and again, maybe not in lower ranks, but when a good player is piloting Graves mid, it is so oppressive to verse. It has infinite sustain, so much push, and Graves is a champion who fares extremely well with levels. So the fact that you're in a solo lane getting solo EXP, you just do an absurd amount of damage.
I'm excited to see it, and this is kind of what you anticipated to see from these two teams. You know they're not going to stick to some generic picks. You know they've got some crazy stuff cooked up and ready to show on a brand new patch, mind you, as well. And it's kind of fitting for the jostling around to really kind of understand, you know, sure, are your mechanics in check? Can you play early and late? But, you know, how quick is your read on the meta? And these two teams have said, right, new patch, new day, and a big opportunity for us to continue to be top of the table.
I mean, both of these drafts are like a new patch drafts, right? You've got the Thomas Kench in top lane. That's just the one there. The Lilia as well is something that's kind of seen, I guess, a resurgence. Well, I say resurgence, but it's the first time we're seeing it with the buffs. And then you look on the side of the Chiefs, right? Graves got a small buff, but that's being seen, Graves being picked in the jungle now, but it's been flexed into mid lane. Now, Graves has a very good time in lane 2 because the True Grit passive, you can actually stack up, right? You're consistently auto-attacking, you reset with the dash, and you maintain the stacks on each wave or each time you trade, particularly with the Lee Sin. So you're going to have, I guess, an inflated armor stats when laning against the Lee Sin. So I don't imagine it to being a very bad lane for Graves. So I'm just so keen to see this play out. I think this is probably the most exciting draft we've had in a very long time, just because there's so many unknown quantities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see how it plays out, right? You know, these are all very mechanically gifted players, so get to see how they can showcase what really is fought upon in theorycraft and see it in the full flesh. Thankfully for us with the Lilia, we're not going to see a Moonstone Renewer like it was when it first came out, right? We're going to see the full, you know, percentile shred. So as you said already, between the Leandries and Demonic Embrace, could be a chance now to see a more bruisery style version of the Lilia. But I do believe from producer Witherbee, we do have a bit of a coach interview ready and lined up as we're getting this lobby remade. So we get to welcome back Coach Kuden.
Hey Kuden, how are you, buddy?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing alright.
How are you and the boys feeling after the upset that you had to Order? I mean, obviously a little bit of a kick in the guts, if you will. How are you feeling? How'd you bounce back?
What upset? Nothing happened.
Not an upset?
It was
Nothing?
it was all planned from the start.
You reckon there was like a glitch in the matrix and it didn't really happen?
We're giving them some confidence before playoffs. It was all part of the plan.
Are you saying? Can I ask? Are you saying that Coach Kuden's plan for the team is so great that us mere spectators cannot foresee what you're doing with that team?
Yeah, it wasn't an upset. I think it wasn't an upset. No one was expected. It was planned.
Planned?
Next.
All part of the... You're a man with a plan. You're a man with a plan. Now, Mike, question about these drafts. Obviously, a new patch. We're seeing Tom Kench topside, I believe. We're seeing, you know, Lilia being picked up. Also, you guys playing the Graves in the mid lane. Do you want to just talk to me about how these drafts and if anything surprised you?
We want to talk about every patch. There's always some OP champ. So I'm sick of it. It's hard adapting, but yeah, Tom top I think is broken, or it's unkillable. It's dumb, and it builds ruby crystals as well. There's that Graves got, I think he got a huge buff. Got 280. Yeah, now he's really strong now, and we're playing him mid for some reason. I thought it was a jungler.
For some reason? What do you mean for some reason?
I thought Graves used to be an ADC now, and then jungle now it's mid. I don't know what's going on. He goes everywhere. He goes where he pleases, like Mundo. Lilia got changed as well. I didn't expect Lilia. Well, I think she's viable with this patch though. Yeah, that's
And so if you had to like wrap it up in a nutshell for me, like, are you confident? Are you leaning 50-50? Are you leaning the game to be?
We're really confident that we'll destroy Ruffle Stomp Pentanet every time, every game.
Yeah.
This whole split, we refuse to drop the game against Pentanet.
I'll tell you what, Mike, I love talking to you. It reminds me of our glory days back in the day. So thank you so much for the coach interview. As always, you're fantastic, and we love you.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
There you have it. Look,
Straight
I love how he went straight on, like, why have we picked him mid? It's like, hang on a minute, you're the coach.
I was like, wait, did I not see it? Like, I genuinely thought that it was Graves jungle. I was like, oh, okay, I've just made a mistake. Like, you know, the coach would surely know better. But then he just dropped the dime piece of, oh, I don't know why we put it mid, but also, whatever, dude, we'll beat Pentanet either way. That's what he said.
I'm just trying to test your observation skills, right? Did you see exactly what I was putting together? I like the fact that he's saying it was never an upset, that he's got this grand plan. That, look, sometimes we'll just drop some games, you know, make sure these other teams feel confident that they still have a chance.
The good thing about Kuden interviews is that there's like 50% that you take with a grain of salt because he's having a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but then there's also 50% bit of insight as to how they work and how they operate. So if I had to break down that interview just quickly, I would say that obviously the breakdown that we got from the Tom Kench pick to the Lilia to the Graves, genuine insight, right? Sure. But then you think about the plan, the grand plan, the man with the plan, the man, the myth, the legend, Kuden. Maybe him saying that them losing to Order was expected and a plan. is a bit of a
stretch.
kick W.
Yeah,
Bit of a kick W.
For sure, mate.
Huh?
Slight delay though, getting us into this game, which is a bit of a doomer. But regardless, we can bring back Mac to welcome him back in. And
Hey.
what was your take on an interview?
I think the interview was sick, as always. Kuden, probably the best interviewee out of all of the coaches, so every other coach needs to step up their game. Now, at one thing
That's
though...
because you don't need to interview them.
Yeah, probably. But at the same time, I'm a great interviewer. Thank you very much, Mr. Groovy Juby, who didn't know what jubes were earlier. Now, speaking of people not knowing what things are going on, look, Kuden had no idea what was going on in the draft. He's like, I don't know how we're going to play this. He's a little bit lost. Hopefully his teammates, the team rather, have a little bit more knowledge on what's going on. Look, and there's only one person that's allowed to throw on the LCO, and that's me, and it's me throwing to content. This content is part 2 of Chiefs. How well do they know one another?
Is there any doubt?
Yeah.
If he doesn't clean up for the broadcast, he's not cleaning up for us, that's for sure.
Whoa, nah.
I mean, who's getting called relentlessly?
Oh my god, I would have called this guy every match day. Holy.
I like how we just all knew.
Holy, I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that was
we were ready.
Yeah,
instantly,
we were ready to do, man. That was the easiest thing in
Yeah,
the
that
world.
was like, a
Obvious.
little bit.
But we're
he owns
calling him
everything.
every time, like 20 minutes before match start, we're just calling him. We're spam calling him.
Yeah, like we got the 15-minute check, like we're about to like lose bans and stuff. He's like not picking up.
I'm pretty sure one time, like we actually went over the time, and I was still calling him. And then I don't know.
We lost bans one game.
Yeah, I think we lost bands. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
because
that was
calling
because
him.
the power went out there.
Oh, true.
But he is late every single time.
Swaif is funny. Jesus. You guys have a terrible sense of humor, bro. What? Swaif is funny.
Obviously. No, me and Tristan vibe. You just don't get it. Yeah.
We've got same sense of humor.
Sense of humor is different. Alright, we get it. But I think everyone's pretty funny. In their own different ways.
Yeah, well, Ron's more unintentional though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we're sort of laughing at him.
Yeah. And then Matt would just, I don't know, Matt's pretty funny.
Oh, hey, we're back. I heard that Champ Select was live, and I got very invested into that thing. It was good to know that Swaith tilted the most, though. I couldn't tell that from his social media game. Now, this game is almost live, though, so hopefully they can hold it together. Hopefully the server is ready, and we can jump straight back into the action, because I'm excited to see some Graves mid. That is nuts, and I'm sure it's viable. I'm sure there's a way that this is going to work. And if anyone can do it, it's the big man in mid for Chiefs.
Yeah, for sure, Kisei can do it. Again, not sure how practiced he is on that champion, and you actually need to be practiced on it as a team to play with it, because it generates a lot of priority in the mid lane, like because not much can trade with it, and then you need to do stuff with Graves, right? Like you need to invade, you need to roam, you need to influence other lanes, or at least jungle matchup. So again, it's going to be interesting to see if they're used to it, because sometimes playing with a bit of an unknown quantity can really change the way that you play, or you start to force things or start to do, I guess, uncharacteristic things. But if there's one thing that we learned from the Chiefs when they played with the Kindred, they linked up very well. They had the real good synergy with their mid-jungle 2v2. So I'm very optimistic that this Graves pick can work.
Yeah,
I mean, we already saw what it did earlier today, Mac, right?
Yeah.
We saw the insight from Kevy, also another proficient Graves player, and he went for this lethality route. I imagine it's going to be what we're going to see in the mid lane too, and just run rampant, like just dominate this matchup, right? You know, you talk about Serpent's Fang and all these other lethality items having so much value, then certainly could have another bit of a Kisei classic.
Yeah, I'm expecting it. I'm hoping it. I'm hoping that we get to see a crazy mid lane matchup, because I've never really seen what Graves does in mid. I think I've seen him maybe top a few times in some random games. But what? Give me some insight here, Juice.
Well, no, I was going to say the one thing that we haven't touched on that we probably can, if you like, is the Lilia build. Right, this has been the topic. We talked about whether it's going to be a Leandri's into a Zonya's like we used to see Lilia. Now, yes, option for sure. But one thing that with the changes, with the healing, with the % HP shred combined with the ability power, I wonder if we're going to see a different route. Like, I remember having this conversation with Rusty or Elfish even, it was about Rift Maker. Are we going to see Lilia with Rift Maker? Because the more uptime in a team fight, more burn damage, the more stack, Demonic Embrace to substitute the Leandries. Potentially we see a bit more burn damage, a bit more damage coming on through. And to top that off, there's more health in that build. So Lilia actually becomes a little bit tankier, has a more uptime, doesn't have to flash Zhonya's and get one shot. So again, keen to see what happens with this Lilia build.
Okay, well, gentlemen, I know you love talking about the game when the game's not live, but I love you talking about the game more when the game is live. So, we're loading in. I'm going to see you later after the game. Enjoy this one.
I'll see you there.
Beauty.
I might be
I'm glad
there,
we're finally in.
I don't know yet.
I'm glad we're finally getting to crack on with this one. A lot of discussion, a lot of pre-game analysis, but we want to see how it all plays out because half the time, you can't quite call it.
No.
The predictions, you chuck them out there and the teams defy expectations. And well, lots to break down in terms of the item builds. We'll get to see how these teams do decide to flesh things out. But it's the final game of the night. It's Chiefs taking on Pensnet. It's a battle for the throne.
Yeah, so not much to break down. Usually I have a coach's interview here, so I'm just
usually just soaking it all in. I'm curious though. I mean, we saw multiple variations on the Lilia of past, right? We had like Leandries, we had Ludens.
Leandries, Ludens, yeah, and
I
even
think we had Night Harvester for a bit. Then we had Moonstone for a while.
Yeah, but that was into tanky comps. You only,
that's right. That's right. So I wonder. I imagine for the most part, it's just far too good, right, to have a stopwatch, just to flash in and make a play.
I don't imagine that Lilia has a fun time into Diana, particularly if Diana lands, Q, because then the double dash doesn't really allow you as a Lilia to get much distance. So again, I think it's going to be almost a jungle matchup of avoidance. But once you're level 6, Diana can land the ultimate, but if Lilia puts her to sleep and all you tank is the first part, then potentially you turn that skirmish around. So it's going to be interesting. Again, not much, we don't have much data to go off. Again, these players probably haven't even played this matchup, right? Diana came into the meta when Lilia was out. So it's going to be maybe a little bit of a feeling out process early on.
What we do know from both these junglers is that they're very keen to invade and make plays. Swaif, as I mentioned before, has the highest first blood percentage, but also the highest first death too.
Oh, really?
We've seen Pabu do similar situations himself, right? Roaming on through and being put down, but might not be as keen to do it this time around. And so I'm excited, though, to see how this Trundle matches up into the Tahm Kench, given that it is pretty much a brick wall.
Well, obviously, Trundle fares very well into tanks, right? Having the subjugate that really just shreds. But the other thing that Trundle does extremely well is he actually saps AD with the Chomp, right? You use the AD or the Q rather, and a little bit of trading. But the Tahm doesn't, a lot of Tahm's damage comes from Tahm's health or the health of his opponent. So it's not going to really affect the matchup in too much, right? And so it almost be like a war of attrition where Bipanther is just going to use Grasp, use the tongue, and find damage that way, as opposed to, having to just trade autos. And so I wonder if that's going to influence, I guess the Trundle side of this matchup.
Yeah, obviously going for the press the attack, so definitely can get himself a fair bit of uptime and damage to burst through that shield and huge grey health bar.
Now, also one interaction that I just want to quickly mention, since we're just watching full clear junglers, was that Lilia is this game is going to find a flash sleep angle, right? There's going to be a point where she flash Qs a backline and sleeps. Now, that gives Kai'Sa access, which we haven't touched on. So if Praetor has a solid enough early game, he's going to get free backline access. I'm so excited to see what he's able to do with it, particularly with, the synergy coming out from the Lilia and Pabu.
Well, just think about how many champions actually can follow up that sleep. Abyssal dive, first of all. The fact that Chaz can then find a very easy kick angle. Killer Instinct, no surprise there from Praetor. Bit of a jiggle dance in mid lane.
Because there's nothing Lee can do, right? Because Lee only has one way in, and yes, can hop out, but Graves can match that and run you down. So you want to be careful that you're not trading Electrocute procs. Chaz wants to stack that Conqueror and have that extended trade. But if Kisei is just able to proc Electrocute, then the lane's not going to really be in Chaz's favor. And again, it's almost like a bit of a feeling out process.
Must be the worst feeling having games like this with a matchup you're not too familiar with and you have to get to terms of it in a stage game when these best of ones, bear in mind. It's not best of 2, not a best of 3, it's a best of 1. Things can happen, draft gaps can really catch people off guard.
Well, you don't really get bullied like you do in a traditional range matchup. Like we're seeing Chaz, even CS, still able to walk up to a wave. For those of you that don't know, Graves can't auto-attack you through a minion wave. So if Chaz ever wants to fight, trade autos, use his E as a little bit of a harass in a wave, he can do that and he'll come off better, right? The problem is like when Chaz starts to fight with no minion wave, and then he runs into a little bit of dramas. So we'll keep our eyes on the trading pattern from Chaz.
As you say, he goes in once again for the Sonic Wave, but the mitigation's a little bit too strong. Swave hunting, trying to get the chickens. A lot of damage gone out on towards him. No level 6 just yet. Dashes on in. Smoke screen is there. Flashing away. Flash to follow. Oh! The snipe from the river. First blood for Praetif. And now, that second kill is easy as you like.
That's a disaster. And you actually, that's a stat you touched on. I'm glad you touched on it before the game. Swayth has the highest first blood statistic, both negative and positive, right? And in that instance there, it feels like Swayth just plays every matchup the same way, right? Like when he gets the Kindred, he does this. When he gets the Everland, he does this. And when he gets Diana, he does this. But, you know, Pabu was, I guess, better for wears. He read that Swayth was going to be there for the invade. And I mean, I don't know if that's Lilia buffs because we haven't seen it, but I mean, he was winning the 1v1, right? Quite convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit is due to the coaching staff, right? To identify those patterns and say, look, so we want to play this one around. He goes in, Smite doesn't get it, then the punish after.
Yeah. Like, if that's just a 1v1 in isolation, I'm pretty sure Swayth is dead. Like, I don't even think he can run away in that instance. Because the phase rush, the Lilia stacks up the move speed. And, I mean, this Lilia is just so accelerated. And, I mean, Chaz too. And this is kind of the... Oh, did we miss something?
We missed the recall animation.
That's fantastic.
It looks nice, doesn't it?
It does. That's clean. If any of you want to go jump into the store and purchase that skin, feel free. I mean, you can't actually get that one specifically because it is prestige, I believe. But
if you want to play like PGG, if you want to become like Chaz, your idol, proc the skin, get some dubs.
There you go.
I really like, though, above all
that.
else, absolutely not. I love the fact that PGG was so confident. They said, look, get disrespected, have a Void Seeker to the head.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably the member you actually want to kill on, right? Because Praetif is key to this composition, like we touched on before. He's going to get backline access. Like, there is no doubt that he's going to get it. Now, does he have enough juice in the tank to finish that one off? And, you know, starting off with a kill and a pickaxe and whatever else you want to your name, it's a good start. And
it certainly is.
Great. I mean, the other thing we haven't touched on, and I feel like we're focusing on this a bunch, but again, it's just an unknown quantity, is that Graves in the mid lane does not really want to fall behind, and that's obviously no champion does. But there's certain champs that pilot far better from behind, and Graves is not one of them, just due to the nature of how short range Graves is. Like, he needs to be ahead, needs to be ahead of the curve, needs to have an item power spike. Like, he just needs it to be able to do the most amount of damage and get the most bang for buck. Now, instead, Chaz is the one starting off with the lead.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to be the lane bully, right? He wants to get in your face and look to put you in your place and, you know, come out ahead and look to be an influence on the map elsewhere. Because right now, you're looking at the lane states and saying, okay, Praetif got a kill. Lived is up here playing his coveted Trundle.
Here we go. Pabu's trying to contest his red buff. Diana is level 6, though. That's a little bit of an equalizer. So we'll see what happens here.
Dodges the Swell Seed, hits the Blast Cone straight into the Herald Pit. There is vision, and Pabu clearly saying it's not really worth the all-in when there's a Herald I can get instead.
This is the one thing Swayth does so well, though. He stays ahead in levels. He stays a level ahead in tempo and XP no matter game state, right? Like, he's up a level on Pabu. Obviously, Pabu prioritizing the Rift Herald and not full clearing his bot side, so he probably will hit 7 after that. But I mean, even though they won the 2v2 mid, Swayth is still in a very decent spot.
Well, 800 gold lead for Penanet, and they've got themselves the Herald as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide to accentuate that lead, whether or not it will be as simple as going down bot side and getting Praetif a little bit extra resources, keep this Ziggs at bay, deny a lot of its initial power. They'll be upset the fact that they weren't able to pick up that Heralds. It's been a quarter of success for Chiefs.
So I thought Pabu might be going for the Riftmaker in this particular game, just because he's going to have so much uptime from having 3 melee range champions in his face. However, it looks like his first item is going to be the Demonic Embrace with the Giant Spell. You know, he could pivot. He could just sit on that Giant Spell for a little bit of HP. But so far, I like that build, right? Like, he's going to get so much value from that item in this game into the Trundle, Diana, and the Braum.
Yeah, doesn't necessarily need to build damage too early on. Can definitely get that extra resistance.
Well, you think about Lilia.
Or staying power.
You think about Lilia, your damage is the HP. Because you can sit in the fight for longer, get off a few more Qs than you wouldn't have otherwise. So,
and that's my point. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, you know, you're doing all this percentile burn, you've got self-sustain now built into your passive, so if you can live longer, you can do more. And I guess it fuels the discussion from beforehand about Riftmaker.
And we probably will see it, right? Like, we do see a trend where people often opt in for what is going to make them safer in the current game state, and then they'll go for the Mythic, right? So sometimes Mythic isn't actually your best rush. In solo queue, probably 9 times out of 10, you just rush to the Mythic because whatever, you're just going to roll over the game. But something where it's a little more synergy, you're more prone to just being focused down, then this roam, though, how did they end up there?
This is the deepest roam, not spotted by vision.
They've
somehow just navigated all the way around.
He's dead.
Lived is going to be so surprised.
Yep.
Watch the cam reaction.
Oh, they saw Swait instead.
Oh no. Don't do it.
Oh, wow.
Surprise, surprise.
And he's dead too. I think they can just redive.
And now Liv is thinking, hang on a minute, this is not how it's meant to be. The Herald's been summoned, they're going to take so much. A big wave to crash, a TP to follow, a killer's guaranteed. A wave that's going to be lost. And now Kisei trying to go 1v4. What on earth are you doing? Looking to fall on down here. 3 kills as quickly as you like. And now Pensnet run this early game.
That's just such a good macro play from PGG, right? This is something that we touched on in the order game, I think it was. No, the Legacy game, actually, about support and jungle linking up and being arguably the most important 2v2 in the game. Look what Pabu and Decoy did. They went on they literally went on a Kentucky tour. Like, they did the rounds in Europe. They put the wards down, all in the red side jungle, and then they dove top side. Like, this is just such a telegraphed but good play from Pentanet. And this is something that they talk about learning at MSI, right? This is what they learned from all the teams over there.
And the cost feels so high because the fact is, sure, you know, losing a wave, Lived is further behind now and so on. But the fact that Kisei came in, burnt double suns, and got nothing out of it when he's needing to find these kills, start to get a little bit concerned.
You do, and I mean, like, it's a 2k gold lead with a composition that arguably outscales you. Like, I don't think that PGG's composition gets outscaled, right? Yeah, the Zeke scales well, Graves mid lane scales pretty well, you know, Diana, Trundle, but in terms of like putting all the pieces together, it's going to be a very long time before you're feeling comfortable in this game. And Pabu's picked up his first item, he's got Demonic Embrace, so I'd love to see him just run around and hit someone just to try and see the damage that comes out from buffed Lilia. Even this matchup, right
now, like, yeah, I mean, Bio's just looking to go toe-to-toe and hit that stun. There it is.
I don't even, like, again, like I said to you, Trundle does well into auto-attack champions because the way that Trundle Q works, right? Trundle Chomp. But Tarm doesn't beat you by auto-attacking you. Trundle beats you by licking you. Sorry, Tarm beats you by licking you. And that's all percent HP damage, right? So, again, maybe Trundle, again, hindsight 2020, but maybe Trundle wasn't the answer in lane.
Be interesting to see as the weeks go by and we continue in this patch, what teams decide to use going into it. Not only here in the LCO, but globally as well, because certainly seems to be a pick now that's going to start to dominate in certain scenarios.
Initial impressions, arguably worth a ban.
Sure.
Just a little bit too impressive. But I mean, you know what? It's still early. Chiefs still have plenty of options to play through. Mboma on the, as I say, Mboma on the Zeeks.
Oh, it's a 2-man sleep. It's as good as you like right
TP.
there. Glacial Fissure goes out, but is it enough? I don't think it is. 2 members going to fall on down. Just like clockwork here, Pensnet, top side, bot side, they all come together, but they all take you down.
I want to talk, like, okay, I just want to say a few things. That PGG dive is absolutely as clean as it gets. The presence of mind from Biopanther to teleport to that cannon minion so they could redive, and Chaz teleporting topside to not lose plates or turret. If this was any other region, chat would be going, oh, Pog, so good, so good, so good. The macro here from PGG is literally world class. Like right now, I'm not even like over exaggerating. The dive to the TP, to the execution, to the TP topside to not lose minions is just unbelievable.
And you know what's funny to say? I think it's kind of what people expected to see of Pentanet when they returned from MSI.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to come back. You beat in Cloud9, you progress through the group stages. You're going to come back here and just stomp everyone harder than you did in split number 1. And whilst it's taken a little bit of time to get there, it's a flawless game from them in the first 15.
Yeah, I mean, what? It's 3,000 gold, but game state. Oh. Game state is just so heavily in favor of PGG because this top lane turret's going to fall. It's going to be first brick. It's going to be more gold that transitions to the side. That's all of a sudden 5k. And 5k at 14 minutes. It's a large lead.
Yeah, it hurts. Flawless, 7 kills, nothing. Yet to die, bounties building up. Both the Heralds have been denied, and Chief's saving grace has been the fact that they played for the Dragons. So they've got 2 already acquired.
That's second Herald though. Like, that's another turret.
It is. Now you're struggling to answer back because hoping that the Ziggs can find some structural pressure elsewhere. Are they going to flip him and put him mid lane? Or are they going to just go for a bit of a contest in the jungle right now as they group up and look to try and force their own play?
That's a Herald mid, I believe. Now PGG are going to look to fight this potentially. Draku going in.
Yeah, the all-in on towards Pabu right now as in comes Chaz. The solar flare is down and Member goes to sleep too, in fact, and that means that Swaif's just gone before the fight really breaks out. A stun connects again. The Herald still looking for a charge and finally gets it off.
And if you want to add a little bit of salt into those wounds, that was a 3v5. Like, I don't know if you took stock of that exchange there. That was a 3v5 and Swaif still died and Pabu did not, right? We're seeing the durability coming out of this Lilia build, right? And, you know, Praetor was, I think, farming jungle, and Biopanther was just bot side. So again, I don't have any, I guess, problems with Chiefs pulling the trigger there because I think that's the correct play. But just the lead that PGG have right now is kind of the reason that we see, oh my god, the reason that we see that play out the way that it did. I was going to say at the moment it's a perfect game, but it's not because Chiefs have broken bot turret with that Ziggs.
Well, it's perfect in some metrics. As you say, kills and gold leads for the state of the game, for the current pace of the game anyway. It's much to be what you'd expect from this team with their current run of form.
Here we go. He has flash, but no mana. We'll have to burn
Liv can't do much. He has the flash, doesn't he?
Again, Swaif has done a good job in keeping tempo, but like at a certain point, keeping tempo is not enough. We need something to happen, and Swaif has to make it work, right? Because it's not going to happen in isolation. It's not going to happen in a 2v2 or a 1v1. It really needs to be a numbers advantage, and potentially it's with Kisei, because he has his one item. You know, he has the Eclipse. It is still relevant, and they really need to show us this Diana Graves 2v2.
Yeah, you really yet to see truly what they can all do when they come together. Been a little bit disjointed, and they've yet to find the recipe to success that's been so prevalent really for the Chiefs in these opening few moments. They're behind, and we'll have to now see how they play and navigate from that position, because that's another Dragon denied. So now a very quick soul point is off the cards, and I'm sure that's what they were hoping for.
And again, you start, like I said to you, when you fall behind, the first, I guess, role to start leading is the jungle. Because whilst you can't take turrets, they're not the easiest to take if they're being defended. The camps are the easiest to steal. And fair enough, bit of a statement there.
Yeah, good satchel charge.
Yeah, but the camps are the easiest to steal. And like, again, it's what, 100 gold, like, let's just round it, 100 gold for a camp. It's not that much, but you start taking like 2 or 3 every respawn, you know, that it adds up, like every single respawn. Eventually, like, you just end up with like 500 to 1,000 gold there just from yoinking jungle camps, not to mention the EXP.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up that point, because that's another stat that the Chiefs have excelled at. You know, for the majority of the games, they've claimed about 58% of it. So they're not only taking their own, they're just putting your jungle on farm as well. And holding you hostage, really, I suppose is the term you'd use here, because if you can't claw yourself back in, you've seen gold leads go against you, but miracle fights take place. But you need, you know, pots, elixirs, vision, or just mere components to find that slight battle difference.
And that's the thing too, right? Is that the way that Chiefs play the game, and that's obviously it matches up with the statistic you just gave us in terms of like jungle counter jungling and whatnot, and I'll hold the thought because Pabu might be caught here.
But he could be. This is the matchup you wanted to see, the 1v1, as Pabu forced to flash away. Isn't going to pop the ulti just yet, waiting for the last minute. He's going to use it now, but only puts the Trundle to sleep, but he falls on down. And that is the first kill of the game here for the Chiefs.
Yeah, big shutdown too. But what did they burn? They burned 2 teleports. And Lee Sin's just farming top side of the map. So again, like whilst it's nice, like you got a shutdown, but at what cost?
Yeah, Wave's pushing against them. They've got to have to answer to. As Zimboma clears out mid-wave, potentially looking for another fight topside river.
Now, the thing that I wanted to just add on to is that I think that's why I'll just hold.
Well, Kisser is the one to respond topside. Now they're looking for the repeat gank, looking for a fight that could actually work in their favor. Fantastic knockback.
Looks like he might be able to 1v2 if, like, obviously Mboma and Draku went up there. He still had the Gore Drinker that he could proc, has the Sterax as well. Wouldn't surprise me.
He's very strong.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to ego just yet. He's definitely in the place of power. Don't want to give Chiefs any avenue back into this game because we know that they're a team that kind of a bit like a battering ram. They will just force fights all day long until one works.
That's not a Rift Maker, by the way.
Nope.
For Lilia, that is.
Doesn't seem to be on the cards today.
Interesting build here from Kai'Sa too. Not what we're used to seeing. Wit's End.
There's Leandri. So it's to be expected that, you know, the old classic of just full percentile burn.
I like the Wit's End from Praetor here though, because if you take stock of game state, how does he die? What is the one way he dies this game? It's a Diana engage into a Mega Inferno bomb. So he's kind of just insurance policy, like we've got a lead already, it's 5k, don't need to do anything crazy, and Pabu's caught again.
Yep, Swave's jumped in, he's found that kill, and this is what they do so well. They find vision, they find moments, small pockets in the game that allows them just to slightly chip away at the golds and get a bit of vision, get a bit of, you know, chance to reclaim back the stakes on the map.
And if we're going to give compliments to PGG and how well they played the early game, we've got to kind of call their
bluff, because it doesn't stop there. Decoy, the one to initiate, but very tanky, isn't he? Swave jumps in as a disengage attempt now, and Mboma caught on the wrong side of a statue charge. Praetor ulting in, looking to go 1v1, and yet he is just so damn strong. He flashes on through to take out Draku, but might have been off more than he could chew. Kisei waiting for a reload and finally finds it before he inevitably falls on down. 11 kills to 3.
Yeah, okay, that was a little bit of a misplay there from Praetor and Decoy. Decoy could have blocked the auto attacks, but they actually spaced each other out. Like, Praetor went bot side, Decoy went top side. Nevertheless, it's a huge win for the side of PGG. I mean, it was a nice pick from Chiefs, but again, nice collapse there from Biopanther, seeing the power of this time change as we get the replay. I mean, he just comes in there, gets the knock up. The Zonya's from Swathe, he's nice, but he just says, "Where you going, mate? Gobble, gobble, gobble," and flies on in. Look at the Wit's End. He's taking no damage, man. But he can take damage from Graves.
I mean, certainly can, especially when he flashes them blind.
You see how they kind of stepped away from each other? And there was that little angle where the Graves auto could find Praetor. If Decoy and Praetor just synced up and stood in front of one another, Praetor doesn't actually fall down there.
Well, speaking about falling down, it might be in Mboma once again in a fair bit of trouble as Chess has gone for the combo, locks him in place there with the wall dash. And that's a massive Moonfall found here by Swave. The follow-up from the big Inferno Bomb is pretty huge. That could be a bit of a game breaker. Lived in trouble though. Subjugate still working. Abyssal dive knocks up too. That's the game changer. A double kill for Praetor. Here's the triple. And that is just sheer dominance from Pentanet.
That is just such a good team fight. And it's going to sound funny to say, but from both sides, right? Because Swathe finds such a good engage. And it is just multiple members on like what, sub 200 HP, 300 HP. And it looks like it can swing the way of the Chiefs, but they just get outplayed at the end. Praetor comes in late to the fight. And I think here, I thought, okay, this is a little bit of an overreach, Skimmy. You know, maybe Chiefs can turn this one around. Watch the Diana ultimate. I believe it's a 3 or 4-man one on the back end here. Like 4-man into a mega Inferno bomb. And if you're Chiefs, you're not finding a better fight than that, right? But Praetor is untouched. Have a look at him zone, 2 to 3 people from presence. Then Biopanther just says, you know what, boys, I'm going in. Come clean this one up, Praetor. And you know what, he's starting to look like his day job's a janitor, because on this Kai'Sa, he's absolutely cleaning house.
certainly
You
is.
like that
And
one,
you
huh?
have to. I
Yeah,
like
you can use that one.
Hey, you've got a few bangers, I'll give you that.
You can use
Certainly
that one.
have.
Tell you what.
Look, I'll say what I see is that Chiefs going to feel hard done by that. They would have thought that they've done enough damage, that they've chased on in, all clumped up, that the turnaround is on the cards there for Pensnet, but yeah, that may have been as good as it gets. So now a Baron buff to play against as well, and this gold lead doesn't get any smaller.
It's definitely not. It's getting big. It's 10k now. I mean, like, that was your Hail Mary fight. I mean, Swaif just found such a good engage, but again, just outplayed. The Zhonya's was good there from Lee Sin as well, so it's going to be a tough uphill battle now because, you know, to make matters worse, it is a Mountain Soul, which is going to fare very well into the likes of like a Ziggs, you know, stuff that really needs to find that 100 to 0 or that poke even.
Yeah. It just means now that that wombo combo that we literally just saw from Chiefs becomes that much harder to pull off and find value with, that the turnaround is just a fraction easy now for Pensnet. As you say, 10k leads. GA here for Chaz. And he has all the control in the world to continue to use flashy plays and not really bear the burden of it.
You know, the one thing that I like from Chaz this game is he actually hasn't compromised. You know, a lot of the times when Pabu's been getting caught, because again, he's only died twice, so he hasn't had a bad game, but there was...
Oh, twice, maybe make that 3 times. Once again, Abyssal Dive is huge. Look it up to this Mega Inferno Bomb, and they do find Pabu. Kisei picks up a kill, but now in a fair bit of trouble. Gonna fall on down. As Predef is starting to get closer and closer to double digits. They're chasing on through. They knock them up again. It's just a little bit too good.
The dive is too good, Skimmy.
Oh no, it's a masterclass here from Pensnet as they are...
Hey, I got another one. What's Tom Kench cooking? Because it's an absolute masterclass from the cat here.
Oh no, well, if anything, mate, we got the sound bites on check today.
They do.
Easy clips of social media.
I'll send them an invoice. But no, it's such a good team fight here coming out of PGG. Like, again, because I hold these teams to such a high standard, hold the thought.
Yeah, they continue. Not going to go for much more, though, because it is onto a Braum, very tanky target. They just want to break open the base, and well, why wouldn't you at this stage? Baron buff is still there for another 10 seconds, 3 waves crashing. Wanted to go for an inhib if it was available, but now they've opened up 2 main avenues for Dak.
And I think Pabu would be his own biggest critic here. I think he's had a very good early game, but he's kind of been a little bit sus in the mid game, right? Like, these fights are starting off him getting caught, and he's not participating in any of the fights. Right? He still has his ultimate available in this fight, but Praedyth on the back end is able to survive. Chaz uses the Dragon Rage to get Trundle off of him, and then, I mean, Bon Voyage, Tom Kench just pops on in and just, I mean, doesn't take damage.
He literally doesn't take any damage. It's crazy to see. And yeah, I guess we are going to start getting into the territory of, is it now ban-worthy? I mean, you're still looking at all the enchanters being strong, all the bruisers being strong. Akali's no doubt out of the meta now. Those nerfs may have just been a little bit too much to allow the likes of Chaz and Kisei to flex their power on it. But now you start to wonder, what is the new hot meta to ban?
Well, this is his, like, this was their counter pick too, right? To Tom Kench. They opted in for the Trundle matchup, but you have to say...
final pick Trundle.
Yeah, it's just been a little bit unimpactful.
Kisei with the LDR, but he's 2-5. He's playing catch-up. The utility with the smoke bomb to try and make sure that the wombo combo when Swaif goes in is enough. The volatility of both these junglers, as we highlighted, has been a big factor here. For 2 different reasons, really, if you look at the scoreline. The fact that Pabu has died 3 times has allowed Chiefs to come back in, but Swaif's 1-6, unable to really get the ball rolling and snowballing like Chiefs have done so successfully.
Oh, Lee Sin's just gone in and says, how you going? But I mean, if your way of getting back in, you know, if you're Pabu, the way of getting back in is a 14k gold lead, I'm sure he'll take that. Few 3 and 10.
No doubt.
Oof.
Oh!
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a bit of a prey diff. It's just a fraction. Okay, we'll forget about that solar flare because I don't even need it. The CC is too much when the gold diff is this big. Inhibs are gone. The base is crumbling. Chiefs themselves, their mental seems to be broken. When a Kaiser can do that in your face, pure disrespect. You know that PGG are a sleeping giant that wants more. 2 members put to sleep in the fountain, running away, zoned away, can't do much about it. The Nexus turrets themselves, the next on the menu. Fire Panther cooking up a real treat here. Big shield, big turnaround, but a fridge that will not ever run out of stock.
Chiefs making their last stand here in Boma, ulting the minion wave. So this is going to be Chiefs living to fight another day. They saved the inhibitor too, so it is only one inhibitor down. What will they lose though? Are they going to lose the Baron? Maybe not.
Yeah, you have to wonder. I don't know how they really get themselves out of the base right now. Vision just does not exist. Have no idea what Pentanet are up to. And are a world away from really matching them with power with the items and the levels.
Praetif just this is when you know you're in control of a game, when you actually don't even need to catch minion waves. You're just AFK for 10 seconds at the Baron waiting for the boys to rock up because there's going to be absolutely no contest. I mean, Dragon can't even get taken away by Chiefs too, so... But I mean, who cares at this point, right, for the Dragons?
I don't think they even want to go for it, quite honestly. They can look to end the game. They can look to run it straight down through mid if you like. And give us one more set of fireworks to end the night here. This would tie them in first.
Yep.
9 and 4.
And 1-1 head to head.
1-1 as you say, so the third time they play each other really is going to be the banger. A last stance here, really, for Chiefs to save any face.
Both games have been statements, right? Like when Chiefs beat Pentanet, big statement, and this one is an absolute statement as well. I reckon Chaz with his, 33 or 34-minute prediction might be on.
Certainly could be. Once again, Leona engaged. Two-man Moonfall, lock him in place. Both junglers go golden for the meantime. Can anybody else follow the fight up and find success? Pabu somehow just falls on down in the end, but it's a trade once again as Predator finds the kill. He is untouched and just far too strong at this moment. They're not even going to attack the Nexus itself because they know these minions far too strong, and if anything, Jubes, it looks like they're playing with their food.
But we're actually seeing the strength of the Diana Ziggs combo. It actually makes it nearly impossible for Pabu to play the game. Like, he's just getting deleted every single fight. And I don't know if Pabu's the one that you want deleted, in the sense that, like, yeah, he's for sure a key member, has a lot of the utility, a lot of the CC. But the Hail Mary for me is if Chiefs can find that engage onto Praetor. He has a lot of magic resistance though. And you know, are they going to be able to find that one shot? But again, it's an admirable stand from the Chiefs, right? They're not going down without a fight. Throughout the Baron buff, throughout the 2 inhibitors that fell, they were able to fend them off for another push.
What a crazy game. To think that, you know, we came into this one, right, and Chiefs were just on an absolute tear, just taking out everybody left and right, and we're thinking, okay, when does it stop? They lost 2 games against Peace. You're thinking, okay, sure, you know, aggressive teams. Blip on the radar, as Kudin would call it, against Order. But now against PGG, you start to wonder, okay, are we starting to get a bit of a resemblance of what Split 1 looked like with the standings?
It feels like we are, right? They're really coming to... And again, this was where I said to them, you know, they're going to play for their mid-game comp. Maybe their early game is still a little bit, leaving a little bit to be desired, but they kind of just said, you know what, Jubes? You don't know what you're talking about. Here's our early game. And they've just put on a clinic so far.
Yeah, maybe just lost a fair too many games overseas. Beaten by better teams and said, this is how they do it early game and this is what we're going to do. That's a massive Moonfall! This might be the best base defense that Chiefs can find, but do they have their damage? They don't! Chaz can flash into your fountain and not die. That says it all. Pensnet are back on top, and Predif is the difference.
Yeah, it is the Predif, as you mentioned, in that game, right? He had such a good game. Really was patient with his Kai'Sa engages. And I'll say Kai'Sa engages, but Kai'Sa backline access rather. And he had, you know, all the work to do once all the cooldowns and the initial engage went down. So it was a really good team fight coming out of Praetor multiple times there.
What a game. I mean, we mentioned it, I think, last week as well. You know, MSI, PGG starting to come back into fruition, starting to show us, you know, those lessons that were learned. And what a time to hit your power spike, right? Because we talk about playoffs not being too far away. It's just under 4 weeks now. And if you need a moment of momentum, then it's time to find the latter half of this one. And Mac, I mean, you look at a team like this and you think, okay, the battle for first, it's on.
Yeah, it definitely just got a little bit more spicy here in the DoorDash LCO. We love a little bit of extra spice in our League of Legends, and this is exactly what we needed. Now, third round is going to be extremely interesting, but let's talk about this game. I came into today thinking this was going to be a banger match, which it was, but I did not ever think it was going to be this one-sided. Pentsnet putting on a damn show from the bloody green light at that start of the game. Just straight off the mark, taking fights left, right, and center. And as you mentioned, just their rotates, you know, to help out their team was just so much better. The fact that Bio survived this team fight is completely ridiculous. Whether everyone else thought, oh, I don't know, that last hit, someone else will get it eventually. Didn't happen. And he goes back in, gets another knock up, and then turns the fight into a full... was that the ace as well? I think it was, right?
I don't know if Mboma fell down, but it was close.
Yeah, close enough. 4 kills, pretty much an ace at that point, right?
Yeah.
We can say Kevy actually got a penta earlier with that logic, so let's just go with that, hey? Now, big game from Pentsnet, putting on a damn show and really finding their way into the new patch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very big statement game. Like I said, the reason that I actually tipped PGG was I feel like they adapt very well to changes. I know they said themselves that that's why they struggled earlier in the split, but I think in terms of versatility, in terms of champion oceans, like they have it all. And I guess we really saw the labor of those fruits, right? I think I said it the other way around, but anyway, whatever, you know what I meant. And yeah, like the Lilia, the Tamkench, you know, the Kai'Sa, even going back to the roots, just a good performance from them.
Yeah, just a solid performance all across the board. That's almost a 20k gold diff, by the way, in 30 minutes. Look, both of them were pretty close in terms of the time prediction, you know, 30 minutes and 23 seconds. I guess we can give it to Chaz, you know, he was that little bit closer. But in the mid lane, he was having a damn good time there on the Lee Sin. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen Kisei on, you know, anything but that Lee Sin. We did see him on the LeBlanc at one point, but he just loved playing that Lee Sin. So good way to steal it away from him is just pick it yourself, you know, and the Gore Drinker providing so much extra sustainability. But other than that, you're looking at Ziggs just dishing out huge AoE damage. 4 Chiefs, however, it wasn't enough to get more than that 6 kills on the board. So I would have to say, out of all the games we've seen from Chiefs so far, this is probably their worst this split. And it's not that they played bad, you know, it definitely is not that. It's more so the fact that Pentsnet just played out of their minds today.
I think there'll be some good takeaways, though, from this game, Mac, because, you know, it's always well and good when the team is winning, especially when they're winning across different patches and they're sticking to their style and happy days and whatnot. But I think it's good to have, you know, defeats like this before, you know, a few weeks leading into playoffs, right? Because you can look to go back and start to, you know, assess, okay, what do we need to change, what worked, what didn't, yada, yada. As Juves mentioned, Pentsnet just seemed to have a different idea of what was strong. And the first 15 minutes, flawless rotates from top to bot, the perfect dives, the perfect kills. And it was like, yeah, 10 kills to no response.
Well, gentlemen, it's time to have a quick chat with Nat, who's down on the side lanes again. And Nat, you have Pradiff down there, who really did put on a Pradiff today.
I do. I'm going to be joined by Pradiff for this post-game interview. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations on the win. How does it feel with that win under your belt? You're now tied for first place with Chiefs.
Yeah. I don't know. We're very confident this week. Everything's been going really, really nicely. Before the game, Echo got world first in another game, so I was really hyped. I think I can win worlds now. So you know, it's, as I said, it's undefeated from here on out, 100%. Going to worlds, probably win worlds. We'll see.
I love it. All it takes is one confident week from you guys, and all of a sudden you're winning worlds. But I want to focus on this game, and you guys looked really strong early game. It appears that all the effort you've put into that has been going so well. So I want to know, what new narrative can we run for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. We came in this week. We knew that a lot of these teams don't really know how to react to aggression properly. I watched Mboma's interview where he said he's just going to sit back and let his team carry him, which was an interesting thing to claim. So I knew that if I play for my jungler and he's playing not to lose, then this game will be really easy. And yeah, I know that like with every other team, it's just going to be the same thing. I'm a little bit offended they banned my Aphelios, so but yeah, I'm always happy to bring out Kai'Sa.
offended, you should be like, that's it. You'd seen as that much of a threat that they had to ban it out. But I lost my train of thought for a second. Would you say that that's your key to victory then, is just knowing that you guys can play that aggressive game and play around your junglers a bit better than some other teams?
Yeah. Well, I think like something that I learned, I said this a few weeks back in my interview, was that I'm going to get every single MVP. I'm gonna get 3 MVPs in 1 week, and I thought it'd be easy, but I actually realized that like my teammates are actually pretty good. So, like, it's a pretty tough task to be able to do that against like all my teammates, because like they're all just so good and they all have standout games. I think everyone's performing very well right now. Jackson last game, clutch pillars, honestly deserved the DoorDash MVP. Like those pillars, oh my god! Like he pillared exactly after Jesse, Insect, Draven into Ziggs and someone else. Like it was perfect.
I would have to say you are all having absolutely standout performances. Do you think this is going to be a week though to get those 3 player that delivers, and perhaps do you think you got it for today?
If people ban my Aphelios, then I think there's a slightly lower chance, because when I'm playing Aphelios, my team likes to let me carry a lot more, you know? So I think like if I'm playing Aphelios, it's kind of likely I'll be able to do it. But I mean, like this draft didn't make much sense, right? They like banned Aphelios and then first pick Ziggs anyways. So like I don't really think the draft made a lot of sense. But like if people want to play for me not to get my MVPs, then like that's just how it is, you know? And I'm not going to be able to do it. But if people let me play my champs, then who knows?
Well, then who do you think got it today is my final question.
Well, I think like Jackson was very good early, and then he started running it really fast, like 4 deaths in a row. He was sprinting. I think me and Jesse played really well the whole game. But Brandon brought out the Tom Kench, so that's pretty exciting. So I think it could be anyone, really.
Alrighty. Well, look, thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations on such a great performance and a win.
Thank you so much, Nat.
So let me get this straight. The man wins split 1. He then goes to MSI and does Oceania proud and makes probably the deepest run of MSI we've ever made. Comes back, gets halfway through this split, and only now does he realize that his teammates might be pretty good at the game. Okay, that blows my mind. And something else that's probably going to blow his mind is his week is off to a damn good start, because Praedyth is the player that delivered for day number 1 of this week. So congratulations. He's off to the start. And I have to say, I completely disagree with what he said about Aphelios, saying, oh, I've probably got a higher chance to get the player that delivered with that. I don't know, man. Your Kaiser's always been pretty damn insane, and it was insane again today. So I think you just lean back towards that direction. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Jubes?
Kaiser has some like average lanes now. That's the problem.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily what he can do on the champion. It's just that he also gets more resources on the Aphelios, because Aphelios has like 200 years game design. Not sure if you've heard about that before.
Yep.
But yeah, there is an old saying. So I think Praedyth just feels more comfortable having the 200 years behind him, and he's able to really facilitate that in the team fights as well as the team.
Well, he had 73% kill participation, 13 kills, 6 assists, and he only died 1 time. So I think he's probably going to be disappointed with that. You know, the man has higher standards for himself, so that's pretty good. Now, the one that I get to ask you about, you know, it's the play of the day. Does anyone have a memory today? Jubes, do you have a memory?
There's two quadric. Go.
No, you go.
No.
You asked.
I'm going to go for Goodo stealing the Baron, and then they win the team fight, and then Mammoth get their first dub.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, that could have been a play of the day.
That was one of my options. I really liked that one. Praedyth got a triple in that game. Just gone.
Got a quadra.
Okay.
Got a quadra, sorry. Sorry.
All good, because that was one of mine. But you still
there you go. There you go. Well, Skibby stole one of mine. I stole one of yours. So
nah, then I had the Kevi quadra. It's one of the quadras, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I like the Mammoth win, though.
You're on the money. Jubes with it's one of the quadras. Whose quadra? It was Kevy's.
Yes.
So big man on the grades, running it in the jungle, making it look like a damn good champion. And let's have a crack. Who's doing it, by the way? Jubes on that? You taking notes?
I think Jubes is doing this one.
Am I? being
Actually, maybe
volunteered,
this is Mac. I think this actually might be a Mac angle.
Mate, I was not prepared for this, Nat. It's a Nat angle. It's a Nat angle. Ready?
All right, so we've got Graves on the back end here. Sorry, it's not a Nat angle, it's a Juvie angle. It's a groovy Juvie angle. And we've got Kevin on the back line here. Bang, 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 bang. He's got the Graves. He's a Mafia Graves. That's been nerfed. No cigar anymore. Thank you very much. Dashes forward. Gun crab on the back end there. Uses the heal. No. Shock says, hello, how are you? Not flash forward. Cupcake goes down. Gets eaten like the Mafia Graves. Let's eat those little cupcakes on the back end, Kevy.
Damn, I have to say that is the best play-by-play I've ever done.
Natty, that was honestly fantastic. The one thing I'll say to you, if I could give you a bit of advice.
Of course.
Your voice was a little bit deep.
Okay. I'll work on that one for next time.
Now, and also, you sounded more from my type of suburbs.
What kind of suburbs would they be?
Summoner's Rift jungle.
True. Straight from the jungle.
Yep.
Good job, Nat. Welcome to the jungle. Now, let's have a quick look at the standings where all the teams are currently sitting. I believe we've got a tie in first. Pentanet at the top of the table, 9-4. Chiefs up there as well, 9-4. You got Order in third with no one sitting beside them because Direwolves copped the L, Peace copped the L, and there you have it, 8-5 for them. So fourth place tied, Direwolves and Peace. So we have a defined top 5 at the moment. That's good still. You know, at least we're going to have some teams in the playoffs. You love to see that. Gravitas there in 6th with 6 and 7 after copping the L to Mammoth today, who are on the board at the bottom, 1-12, looking to get back into the negotiations of those playoffs. Legacy there with 5 and 8. So there still is a world where if Direwolves or Peace just bottom out for the rest of this group stage, then it's going to be extremely hard, but possible for Mammoth or Legacy to also make it into playoffs. So there's a realm where this actually happens. Anyway, any surprises here for anyone on the desk?
Well, when there's a will, there's a way. That's the first thing we'll say. So good luck, Mammoth. But the biggest surprise for me is Peace being this far down the leaderboard, especially with the addition of Babip. Like, again, we thought, you know, this is potentially the team to overtake Pentanet, but we've just seen complete opposite, I guess, flips of the script. Pentanet have made a late surge and looking like the best team in the league now. And Peace are looking, brutally honest, Peace are genuinely looking like a 5th place team. And on some days, that's generous. Like it is genuinely looking like Gravitas as the 5th place team. And that's the harsh reality of it, right? Like you set expectations with how good some of the players are in the team, and I really, really, really hope, because I love all the players on that team. I hope they can bounce back.
I would definitely agree with Jews in terms of like Peace looking a little shaky, because if we took all the players individually, I think they are still playing to this expectation that we have of them, but when you put them all together on a team, it's just not really working. And that's what we see when we look at teams like Mammoth and Gravitas and Legacy. They're all really amazing individually, but when you kind of put them on a team, they really start to struggle, and that's where Peace is sitting right now.
It makes me question, I wonder if it's Draft Lord. Is he drafting the wrong drafts? Or am I going to be shunned for even questioning the Lord of the Draft? However, let's have a look at what games we are going to see tomorrow evening. So, kicking things off at 6 p.m, you got Chiefs and Direwolves. That's going to be a banger, so make sure you're in your bloody seats with your DoorDash ready for game numero uno. Now, 7 p.m, you got Gravitas and Pentanet going head-to-head. Can Gravitas cause the upset, or are Pentanet going to continue this fine form? 8 p.m, you got Peace and Order going head-to-head. This is potentially another banger. Order could jump up there to the 9-4 or 9-5 scoreline as well, or Peace may be able to put their foot down and try to shut all of us up on the desk, although I believe it's warranted at this point. 9 p.m, Legacy and Mammoth going head-to-head. This could be another dub for Mammoth if they play out of their minds, but Legacy, we've enjoyed what we've seen from them, so who bloody knows what's going to happen to round off the night. Game of the day, anyone? Skimmy, I'm looking at you with my eyes.
Yes, I am looking at you. Yeah, look, I mean, you could look at all these games, right, as being bangers. I think having seen Gravitas beat Pentanet before, that was the old Pentanet. I don't think they can now, especially if they're playing as clean as they did there. They're a team that's saying, look, we're going to Worlds. We want all this attention, you know, once again, back on us as, like, you know, the team from OS that can defy expectations. Chief and Direwolves could be exciting. You know, the Direwolves and the Chiefs then both looking to try and bounce back from defeats and say, we're better than this.
True.
There's a lot of narratives that continue to be exciting where, you know, the favorites aren't necessarily the ones that get the victory.
I would... Sorry,
Hello?
to jump in.
Yes,
I was going to say Pentanet and Gravitas. definitely, I think it's going to be the most action-packed. The way the Gravitas won against Pentanet last time was the early aggression. Really got them in the early game. So I think they're going to try and probably fall back on that. Go for a lot more early aggression, but Pentanet have really stepped up in that department. So I think we're going to see a lot of fights early on.
Okay, and I think we have Elfish Guy and Rusty tomorrow, right? So, Jubes, you want any 2 cents before we end the day?
Nah, mate. Don't get overtime. So. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No. I think. I honestly think the. Well, for me, there's like, it's not the games. It's what the games mean. Like, if Legacy win, they go 6 and 7. Then Gravitas 6 and 7. And depending on the peace order game, which is going to be a huge one, they're 7 and 6. Obviously, they could end up 8 and 6. But then, like, that is just such a close middle of the pack, and that makes the league so spicy, so exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is spicy, and it's only going to get more spicy tomorrow. Day number 13 coming up 6 p.m. or 5:30 if you want the pre-show. We'll see you then.
Looking to try and catch up Cupcake on contest, but then jumps in only, looking for the flash click, and he does get it now, jumping in with the Sonic Wave afterwards, looking for the execute, but then Puma flashes the 1v1, and the bot lane of order looking to try and protect him, but he falls on down all the same. Only might be the trade as the dash wave will not protect him on this occasion, but now Chungy burning his flash also and gets collapsed upon by Claire. Level 18 now for Kevin. He is so insanely strong. As Claire's had enough, he jumps on in. Vanatar on towards Puma, but has no protection. The bigger Inferno Bomb does enough before Puma's eventually going to fall on down. He's been kicked and flashed, but somehow the auto attack from Siva is just there in time. But Kevin stops. Raj does go on towards Appy, but the aftershock was there to mitigate a whole bunch of that one, and the Milk might be in trouble right now. Absolutely he is. Rocket jump on his head, he's going to cop a fair bit of damage, and the trade is started looking to try and get that kill onto Violet Sybil. Does he have the flash? Max range, he gets it, and a double kill. And he redeems himself for the misplay topside.
The shy ball, huh?
This has to be a 50-50 flip. Gravitas feel pressure that they need to do something right now. Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower. Spawn, they've stolen it! Mammoth have got the Baron, they've got the kills, they get a double, they get it all. They will take it all, but can Thomas Shen find the resets? He's on hit, but he's fallen on down. Frost denies him, clutching so closely. And down, it might be in Boma once again in a fair bit of trouble as Jeff's gone for the combo, locks him in place there with the wall dash. And that's a massive Moonfall found here by Swave. The follow-up from the big Inferno Bomb is pretty huge. That could be a bit of a game breaker.